flowers on your stone. We both know that I was wrong. We both know I'm not like that anymore. Us, I'm not far behind. We both know that I was wrong. We both know I'm not like that anymore.
You are listening to By the Burial Ground, hosted by paranormal investigators Tyler Carter and Chris Scann.
No, they're trying. It's just Hollywood, though, but they're trying really hard.
Alright, guys, and welcome to By the Burial Ground. And we call ourselves By the Burial Ground because we are literally right next to a cemetery. I'm Tyler,
I'm Chris.
and we're both very interested in the paranormal world. And I mean, I'm not just talking about ghosties and things like that and all the different stuff we kind of tend to think just with paranormal. We get into aliens and different things as well. So, Chris and I are also both avid ghost hunters and have a page. It's the Brunswick Paranormal Society. Check that out. It's Brunswick
Area Paranormal Society.
Yeah, check us out. We tend to go in some creepy places, and
We don't catch everything all the time, but we try. We try our best, and everything's unedited, and I know how it is the 21st century, and everyone likes to fake stuff. We do not.
we just tend to go out and record our stuff, and we bring back some interesting things. I actually we were using a speaker box recently.
Spirit box.
Yeah, and we caught a really cool, clear as day signal, and it was like a Jacob or a Jason, but like it sounded like a young voice. It was really creepy. We definitely had fun out that night. We were at the what was the location called?
Bennett's Corner Cemetery.
And we live right next to it, so
Literally, we have dead neighbors.
yeah, we're right next to the dead, and like I said, that's why we call ourselves By the Burial Ground.
They're very peaceful. They enjoy our fires once in a while.
We have a lot of fires. We have a big backyard, so we have a fire pit back there, and we actually allow we do an open invitation to the dead whenever we have our fires, so that they know they can join us.
And we close it when we're ready to go to bed. Saying,
Because
hey,
we don't want to have some demons and shit just
Nah.
creeping around.
nah, we don't want any of that stuff going on.
So, the reason why Chris and I wanted to make this podcast is because both of us are really big fans of the paranormal realm and all the different things that wrap that up. And also, we are actually two people on different paths who cross over and do different things that like actually overlap. So, Chris, you're a Christian, right?
Yes, I am.
And I'm not. I tend to believe a little bit different than Christianity. I would consider myself more like a psychonaut. I tend to dive into psychedelics and things like that to try to understand a little bit more perspective of the universe. But I've grown up around a lot of Christians, and I respect Christianity in certain elements. I understand history. Christianity's done some like wicked things, and like we're not gonna get all.
Every religion has done wicked things.
Exactly, and I completely agree with you, Chris. I'm not gonna attack Christianity on this podcast, and I just want to like let people know that just because we're on different ends of the spectrum doesn't mean that you and I we don't really understand, we're trying to go out there and we're looking for certain things out there, you know?
Right, right. Always. Always looking for that next apparition or EVP saying something. It's just exciting. Very exciting.
And we've done this for a while without any kind of like expectations of what's gonna come or like if anybody's interested or whatnot. You and I, we literally just go around and walk around our backyard and through like the area around the graveyard and
Yep.
through the graveyard a couple times. And we don't need to feel like we need people to like know exactly what we're doing. We just like to talk with people and we like to get people's perspectives.
Exactly. A lot of people have asked for my advice that the page I started on, and I try to fill in as much as I possibly can because I don't know everything, and I still want to explore the interesting paranormal because we are not alone and someone's always watching, evil or good.
There's a lot of good and evil out there for sure. I I've definitely thrown up some protection sigils and some things around the house for us because we have a
Exactly.
family we have to look out for. You and I, we go out looking for these things, but we also have a house full of people we have to protect as well.
I also wear, every time I go out to these places, I wear the Celtic cross around my neck. It just feels like a form of protection, and that I always know that something's not going to attach to me if there is said very bad spirit or demon in that place.
Exactly. And I mean, you're a Christian, but you still allow me to paint pentagrams and things like
Yes.
that because you understand I recognize that as a
It was a
protection sigil.
it was a protection symbol back in the day, till the cults started using it as their way to calling up the cults for devil, whatever worship.
Exactly. The satanic people may have used that and spun that into something different, but you recognize I look at that more in the pagan traditions,
Yes.
and I allow myself to use very ancient protection things, and I don't get caught up in any certain religions,
Nope.
but I like to pull from certain religions because I recognize the insights and the values they had.
I was never really a hardcore Christian boy myself, so that's why I was an open book to the paranormal and stuff because I know, like I said, my parents, they don't really believe in the afterlife. I know there's something out there because I felt it, and everything else, I mean, I know they probably haven't, but I have.
So what's the most, let's say, intense experience you felt out while either investigating or just things you've had happen in life?
In life, well, before I even started recording and try to pick up things and stuff follow me, I used to go on adventures to abandoned creepy places, and I always felt that something was always watching me.
I
And
always feel like somebody's
he's watching me. Exactly.
I
And,
feel you.
and my friends back then, because I used to live out in Pennsylvania, and it's the original 13 colonies, and has a lot of rich past and history, and there's always spirits from the past in history. So, saying that there's always something out there watching you or wants to say something, because we'll never understand the paranormal, but it's always interesting because they're always talking to us till we go into that world.
Yeah, we have to actually discover. It's not like they want to specifically like say like, "Hey guy, like understand what we're doing." We got to go out there and actually try to like discover and find the things and really see the like signs because
Yes.
there are things out there that are sending messages to us and
Yes.
whether we want to believe it or not, they're out there.
They are out there. I have experienced it. Tyler's experienced it. And this is why I started the page I have on Facebook. Just because it was so much that I wanted to share my experiences with other people interested in the same things as me and Tyler.
And no, this podcast will very much tie into that page because Chris and I are out there. We go out and investigate places that have this intense activity because
And rich history.
exactly because we know those places are really where we're going to find some evidence that will help provide you guys with some answers, that there's other things on out there that your mainstream media or things like that aren't going to tell you.
Exactly. And they won't tell you that because there's always your believers and the share of very non-believers. I watch those shows too, and I was like, I always smirk at them because personally, I have experienced stuff versus, hey, yes, there's simple explanations. The wind did this or that did this. But when something calls your name in the middle of the room, when you finally discover it, it really sends a signal out to you. It's like, hey, there is something trying to talk to me. Why is he trying to talk to me or she?
Well, and go a little further into that, because that's not just something you're saying. You've had that happen to you. Talk about that real quick.
That was the experience I had right here in the heartland of Ohio. It used to be an old tuberculosis hospital up in Molly Stark, which is now a Molly Stark Park up there, so it is highly patrolled. I do not recommend trespassing, but I have done it, but I'm very precautious. And we explored around the hospital. We heard footsteps, and for some reason, me and the other investigator stopped, which is another female, and I got an e.v.p on my device later that day when I went home and investigated and listening to it on my device. It literally called my name, a male voice, on my device. And the other person that was investigating with me is a female, and she's also a high ghost magnet. She picks up on the same vibes I do.
Yeah, shouts out to Erica.
Yes. Yep. And we just footsteps, and we always keep going back to this place because it always intrigues me just because of that voice in this place inside.
And I mean, we're going to go back there sometimes, and we'll provide an experience for our listeners, because you and I will go up there. I'm working on it sounds silly, I'm working on a backpack right now that's going to be a full integrated paranormal investigative unit. I've taken an old security system with night vision and just like really good quality, like
That's
time
what
lapse.
that's what we need next is night vision.
Exactly.
Especially in these dark, creepy places we go to, even though it's a light of day. Trust me, there is a lot of dark corners that spirits will still talk to you even during the highlight of day because it's dark in there.
And I'm going to create a backpack with these camera systems, so it'll literally be a full view around myself, and I'll be able to like give you guys a full experience. So follow our page. It's Brunswick Area Paranormal Society, and Chris and I are both very, very big active members. He actually got me hooked on it. So I've done paranormal investigation before I met Chris, but him and living with him, we've actually like reignited, and he's got me back into it. So
It's because every time I pick up something, I let them watch it. Not only do I pick up on voices, there's also been faces, and there's also been a shadow figure. Actually, at Molly Stark, there's a funny story to that. It's not funny, but it was a bunch of birds that day, and they were just reacting. And I stuck the camera back in there. I didn't actually go inside, but it was very cold. You get those cold chills. Everyone should relate. Everyone gets those cold chills, and all of a sudden something's moving up and down, and there's nothing else behind it. And even Tyler got all excited about it because I showed him. It's like, dude, check this out. And he's like, holy crap, it's a shadow figure.
And Chris, you've got some really great videos, and seeing your videos reignited something in myself that I thought I had kind of lost, because you kind of, society wants you to step away from things like paranormal investigations
Yes,
and things like that.
they do.
And we look into more than that. We literally look at like cryptids and things like that. We look at the creatures in the the forest around us and the woods around us. We look at aliens in the
Yes.
sky. We don't let anything be a mystery to us because we keep our minds open to all that.
Even if it's just a random farmhouse in Ohio, or some like this place in Vermilion, Ohio called Gort Orphanage, where there's no house at all anymore. It's a lot of lure and rumors. I still haven't got the true facts of it, but there's still something there that I've caught EVPs as well, but they're very faint at night. That's the only place I've gone to at night and caught stuff and noises and just the eerie feeling. And we got a lot of places here in Ohio. Ohio's pretty haunted, believe it or not.
No, Ohio has a lot of stuff going on, and you and I have both experiences. Like, I've been to plenty, and there's multiple. People think it's just like one location, but Crybaby Bridges.
There's
I've
so
been.
many of
There's
those.
so many,
There's so many rumors and legends and myths
and I've been
of
to
somebody's
plenty of
crybaby
them. I've
bridge.
had a couple where like me and a couple of buddies have pulled up there with a car, turned it off, and our car started to drift
Yes.
without anybody touching it. Like
Yes.
we were just sitting in the car, and our car started to push forward, and that was an amazing experience because I was scared. Like I was young and I was terrified.
Actually, speaking of the experience I've had, when I used to live up where I'm from, I'm originally from Indiana. We called this place Amish Road, where some adult's kid died, and he was left searching for it, and he passed away. If you turn off your car at the edge of the road and wait, you'll see this old-fashioned lantern following you. And we've one day, because we had my stepsister, and she's into that witchcraft too. We'll get into that in a later subject. Anyway, this light kept following us. We kept going and going and going. There was no reason for it, rhyme or reason. It was an old-fashioned light following us for no reason. So that kind of got me little like, ooh, hey, there is something else out there that can't be explained yet. Do I like to explain it? No, but that's the great mystery of it. You can't explain it, but you want to keep going back for more.
What got me into it is when I was young, I experienced I experienced two situations where I had sleep paralysis, and some people connect sleep paralysis with the attempt of a demon trying to enter your body. Some people hear voices, some people see shadow figures. I didn't see a shadow figure, but like I felt like thinking back on it now, I feel like I heard something, and the way I got it to like the way I was able to get up out of my bed. One time I was on the bed and one time I was sitting on a couch. While I was laying down on the couch, the way I was able to get it away from me is in my head. I kept on repeating like "Get out, get out, get away from me," and to this day, that's one of the things that drives me to try to understand what's really out there. You know, I've tried to understand different like religions. I've experienced psychedelics and certain
Right.
things like that to try to understand certain things. But that's one of the main things that drives me is having those situations, you know, and being terrified by them.
Now that you mention that, though, as a kid, I used to have a lot of night terrors and not able to sleep.
Same here. My mom, she actually
I
like
was
at one
literally
point.
screaming.
Yeah, me too. My mom prescribed me with sleeping pills for a while because she thought that would help. But like I would wake up in the middle of the night and I was having issues. I was contemplating death as like a 6 or 7 year old, and like trying to like understand the concept of death because I had experienced death early on in life, and that was one of the things that really like I was way too young when I was trying to think about ideas that were way beyond myself, you know?
Exactly. And it's funny because once we rented that room out to somebody else, I moved out the other room. I didn't have them anymore. Maybe it
It's
was the room.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how something might be tied to just one like location.
In the house. Maybe the house was kind of had a spirit in it, but at the time I didn't think about it because of the kid.
Now, let's talk about houses real quick. You've had experience in our house we live in now. We just moved in here. What like when did we move in here?
It is about a month now. It's been about almost a month and a half, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Close
yeah.
around there,
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, almost 2 months now.
Yeah, almost 2 months. And if I went downstairs to make sure everything was off, and Tyler, being a tall, slender fellow, very handsome guy, anyway, I look out because he usually goes out and does his thing, his smoke, to relax. And I asked him the next day, and I was like, "Was that you at this time of night?" No, I was already in bed asleep. There you go. There was a tall, slender figure just because we lived next to a graveyard, and that was my first clue. Hey, it didn't attack or anything. It just walked. It was like say, hey, these are new people. We should look into it.
And just so like everybody who's really interested in the spirit realm and the different things that like tie into that, and we'll talk more about like the different things we'll be investigating and whatnot. We aren't trying to attack spirits, and we're not trying to out there like
Nope.
out spirits for any reasons. We try to commingle and allow them to like interact with our space without we haven't done any kind of protection spells or anything like that, or any kind of like sigils or anything to just like banish any spirits from interacting with us. We haven't had any
We haven't run anything too evil or demonic that we haven't able to handle pretty much.
we know what we're doing if we need to take care of ourselves, but we haven't had a situation where we need to, you know.
That's when we want to go further into our investigations. Yes, you say we're limited to Ohio, but Ohio is pretty rich in paranormal activity. Do we want to outreach to other locations? Sure, but we have regular jobs. We have a family to take care of, and I have a future granddaughter coming up, and Tyler here is going to be a great dad.
Well, and that's
Yeah, I know.
that's one of the things we're gonna be. I got a daughter coming, so we'll be talking about that a little bit later. But it's one of those we won't be stopping trying to search for the truth. You know, we have a family to take care of, but we also have something out there we have to search for, and both of us have that passion to go out there and try to find the real answers.
Find the answers. We have to find the answers.
And we'll go into whatever situations we need to take care of and find those answers, because there's truths out there that need to be exposed, and there's a lot of situations and there's a lot of areas that people tend to like avoid because of paranormal reasons or aliens or things like that. And we're going to get into those because both of us, we're out there exploring. We're trying to get these things, you know?
We have a sense of exploration as too. I also go to other places to explore, not just for paranormal but just for research and relaxation. But locations I like to go to a lot do, have paranormal activity or hauntings based on my experience and other people's experiences on the internet.
And what is some of your favorite things you found on the internet?
Or that, I would like what I also started me investigating is ghost hunters. My favorite is ghost hunters at the St. Augustine Tower in Florida, where that spirit peered over.
I was just there on vacation.
Yes, you were just there on vacation. It was that one lighthouse. I'm sure everyone's seen that episode where that not only once but twice a spirit peeked over up on the stairs, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy moly, I'm hooked. And that's what I know. Some people down Ghost Adventures, but I think their stuff is credible. And I still watch Nick on his other show. I keep forgetting what that show is because it's just recent new, and I don't have that channel. I'm upset. But anyway.
No, and I've really been influenced. Like, I've always loved TAPS, like what they've done.
Yes.
You know, the Ghost Hunters, and they had the international show for a while. They really try to go out there. You know, you like the Ghost Adventurers. I tend to think he's a little broy, and like he like
Yeah, he
it's
is
almost
a little
sometimes
bro.
like he wants to fight the ghost. Like he literally wants to get into physical combat with the ghost.
I think they're getting used to it now, dude. I wish.
Well, and I'm sure his fans kind of like that, you know.
Yeah, they fans like that, but I wish he would go back to his roots, how it all started.
Yeah,
Not
when you get a big, you kind of like tend to stray away.
forget about your roots.
And I hope that with this podcast and with the page we have, you know, the Facebook page and like all the investigating we do, I hope we never like get to that point where
I hope
we're
no.
like, no. I think that like our ladies will keep us tied down
Yes,
and like
they do.
they'll check us and make sure we're not like getting too egomaniac, you know.
Right.
But I want to like make sure that people are hearing these different opinions because the mainstream media tends to overwash these issues or like pass them off as hoaxes or jokes,
Yeah,
and there's real situations going on out there. No matter what religion you believe in, or if you don't believe in a religion,
exactly.
there's a lot of things that tend to happen in the world where if you really pay attention, there's supernatural events that happen all around you all the time.
There's energy all around us. You just don't know it unless you feel it.
And to explore that a little bit, I think you'll find that it's right there with you, and you need to tend to tie into that because with the more technology and the more people go towards like military things and those kind of possessions and whatnot, you're gonna stray away from your spirituality. And part of our ghost hunting is also to connect with our spirituality. We have these like fires in our backyard, and we summon spirits. Not like we're summoning like anything with like
Demonic.
chants or whatnot, but we're literally inviting spirits to join us just to enjoy that fire, to enjoy our
Exactly.
conversations, and to sit there and relax with us because we don't want to challenge the spirits. We don't want to antagonize. We just want to understand. We want to
Because-
make sure that when we pass on into the next realm, whatever that may be, that we have a better understanding than those who have come before us.
That's well said. Remember, spirits used to be human beings too, and they enjoy the things that the living enjoy as well. Some might not remember it. I don't know how spirit. This is why we investigate. This is why we research. We don't understand the paranormal. If they act like us, but in a different spiritual form, just like Tyler said.
And we've been to plenty of places. What's been a couple of your like? What's your top 3 places you've been to recently, Chris?
Recently, that
Like in the
would
past, like year or so.
that would be the Molly Stark.
That was a wonderful. And you
That-
had somebody called out your name there,
Yep,
and you had
the shadow figure.
exactly the shadow figure, and you had tons of orbs.
Yes, I have tons of orbs. There's other places that just spike my interest now, which is the old Massillon State Hospital. When they
And we'll be going there.
we'll be
Just
going
so
there.
our listeners know, we have a very long list and a short list of things we need to go to. We're in Ohio, so we try to keep certain things Ohio, but we're not limited to that. If we have the funds, we'll go outside of that.
Yes, we will. And I know there's some other places we haven't been to that people ask, just like Athens. Everyone's asked me about that. Yeah, that takes funds to go there.
Athens is a couple hours away.
Yes, it
it's like
is.
3 or 4 hours away from where we're at.
It's
right
quite a drive. Or the Moonville Tunnel in Ohio. That's a couple hour drive. That's sparked my interest too. I'm always looking, researching what's the next big thing. Would we like to quit our jobs and go full time if it got us paid? Heck yeah. Everyone would that's interested in the research of paranormal.
And also, there's Patreon out there where we can set it up, and you guys can like set it up as like a monthly donation. We're not gonna like get out there and try to like find that. And,
It's like, hey,
just,
give us
rip you
money.
guys off. No. But like, if you guys feel that down the road you want to hear more of us, and you're not catching enough from what we're able to do outside of our jobs, because both of us work. Chris works 2 jobs. I work a job, and I'm about to pick up a second job. I don't want you guys to think that like we're trying to like rip you guys off. We just eventually might down the road, if you guys are listening enough and you really are interested in what we're doing, that might be an option,
Just like, yeah, go on a weekend skirmish somewhere to spend a weekend just to investigate, not just one night, maybe 2 nights. That would be great. I would love to do that.
And I'm working on this backpack. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be multiple cameras with a 500 gigabyte system. It's going to be awesome. It seems limited, but I promise you, we're going to get some great footage. Check out the page, Brunswick area, Paranormal Society. We're doing great things out there. We're trying to really find things.
Yes, we are. And I just recently uploaded some new videos and some new photos for you. Even you, if I didn't catch anything or Tyler didn't catch anything, but if you listen in and put your headphones on and listen to these, and if we didn't catch anything, just let us know and we'll listen to it too. And we're not always like can
We
catch
gotta
every.
double back sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we gotta check our own work.
We even got to check back for the beginnings, like an old Edwin Shaw when there was growls and stuff like that. I had to check back 3 or 4 times, and I keep finding new stuff every day, and that's what started it all. But it's no longer there. But we also found the old cemetery, which is I uploaded a video and photos for you guys to enjoy.
And Chris, he's got his first person camera on. He's got his
Just recently, the first
DSLR going out there, and he's got the spirit box. He's really trying to like capture as much as possible for everybody to make sure that we catch any kind of activity going on. I'm going to be setting up this system for this camera, and I'm hoping going out into the field, this will provide multiple views, and anything I see, you guys will see. And we want to eventually get live. Like, we want to be doing live shows
Yes, we
from
do.
on-site locations. Like, that's something we want to get into.
Very much. That would be great for so that way you guys can enjoy as we are experiencing it, and we do want to do more nighttime locations.
And the podcast is just so we can interact with you and really gauge your guys' opinion, see if you guys have any areas we need to go locate, and as we get bigger, you know, the more opportunities we have, we'll go check locations outside of our own state. It's a little harder right now, and we'll
Exactly.
be outside of our state soon. Don't worry. This summer sometime maybe we'll go outside at some point, but it's just at this point Ohio has enough for us where we can really
We can keep
explore.
going back and back and back, and certain locations just keep us drawing us back and back and back just because of experiences that either Tyler or I have experienced in the past.
And both of us combined. I mean, Chris, how old are you?
Oh, I'm 43, man. I'm getting old.
Shut up, shut up. And you're also, and just so like, I know people like, especially when you see the horror movies where they always have like some police officer figure or like some ex-military figure. Chris, you served in the Air Force for a while,
Yes, 4 years. 4 years.
and you aren't somebody who was easily persuaded by some kind of like ignorant opinion or anything like that.
Nope, I'm pretty strong-headed. Just ask my mom.
And I'm not trying to use Chris's military background as some way to like sell this as like, oh, he was in the military. Obviously, he's not gonna just believe in ghosts, but he's been through situations where like he's served in real world, real life situations. He has no reason to make these up.
Nope.
I have a normal 9 to 5 job kind of deal. I'm not trying to out here make up these ideas. I'm just trying to expose a little bit of this truth because some people get a little bit skeptical about paranormal, and because they think it's just like, oh, they have to see some full figured
There's
body
an
apparition.
explanation. There's the wind or nature or a science explanation or your feet dragging.
Science
Okay.
is constantly changed. Science,
Yes, yes.
there's always something new that's happening with science, whether it's something that's related to how we interact in life or something that's related to space. There's always ever changing things in science. So we're not gonna like rest in any one opinion. We're gonna go out there, we're gonna do our own research, and we're gonna give you guys our own perspective.
Like I said, everyone has their own opinion. You're a human being. You have your own opinion. That's fine. I'm not going to argue over someone's opinion because that's your opinion.
What do you feel when you're out there, Chris? You know, I know I tend to take a little bit of whiskey before I go, just to like let myself edge out, you know. But when you're out on the field and you're exploring those, I mean, we recently had an experience where we had the speaker box out in the cemetery,
Yep.
and we got that Jacob or Jason or whatever,
Yep.
and that was immediately both of us looked at each other and
I
were
was
like,
like, oh.
that was something.
Or when your camera malfunctions because
Your
you know
camera was almost over 50% and then dropped down
It
to
dropped.
less than 10%
right that
in like a minute.
yes, and you know something was drawing that energy from it. Everything's got to draw energy. Maybe they're trying to communicate with us, saying, "Hey, I'm here. I know you want to talk." Yeah,
And that's the big theory, is that spirits need to draw off the energy of our like power devices and things like that. But both of us have been out there with the fire and just sitting around the fire without any of our devices. Maybe our cell phone next to us,
yes,
but whatever, you know. We've been out there and we felt like something's literally like sitting in the
always.
forest line almost always, and we always invite them, but there's never anything that like directly approaches us, but we always feel like something's like sitting on the outline.
They're
You
sitting
know?
out outline watching us, like, trying. Maybe you ever thought they're investigating us? It's like, oh, I used to be a human being. I remember being a human being. Maybe just, and you ever thought the different realm? It's like, hey, maybe they're investigating us too. It's like these humans are weird, and we're just like, oh, these spirits are weird. What's going on here?
All right. Well, we're gonna take a small break and we'll be right back. We just need to resituate and just get ourselves taken care of.
Did you pause it?
All right, and we're back. We had to take a small break just because we wanted to do a little bit longer podcast. Like we're breaking for that 45-minute to an hour-long episode kind of deal. But we want to just make sure we're providing the most information we can each podcast, because as we move along, we'll be having a lot of different experiences and different things to share with you. This first podcast is kind of to introduce Chris and I.
To break the ice.
Exactly, and we want to make sure that you guys kind of know what we're about. And we've had so many different experiences between the two of us, and now that we're actually out there exploring, there's a lot of like crazy places we want to go. So like, what are the places, like a couple of your big ones that you want to see?
Well, let's see, Waverly Hills, Kentucky.
Well, and we just had somebody talking to us on the Facebook page about that.
Right, they asked me, hey, have you been out? It's like, yeah, it's on my to-do list. Trust me, if I had the funds and can do this full time, I would be all for it.
And we really want to get out there. So make sure as you're listening, you guys suggest the places that you want to see us at, and we'll do our best to get out there. I mean, hell, if it's within a weekend trip kind of deal of where we live, we'll drive out there just to like spend one night of real hardcore investigation.
Oh yeah, we'll love to spend a one night of hardcore investigation. That's what one of my things to do is this summer is to get one of those big main haunted places. Doesn't really have to be Maine. If anybody has suggestions in their local area, just shoot us a message or on the page that we have.
We're trying to provide the real evidence, you know. We're not looking for some place that like a bunch of people have talked about, that like somebody eventually or like occasionally gets a picture of. No, we really like, if you have somewhere in your neighborhood where you feel that like our presence is necessary, and especially if you're in the Ohio area, because
Exactly. We'll get out there quick.
we'll get out there, you know.
Yes.
You want us to come like jump around your house and like do a weekend in your house so like you can figure out what's going on? We'll do that, and we're not just trying to like look for the ghosts. If we feel like, oh, well, you're in an old house, it's probably just creaky.
We want to explain what's going on in your house so that you have a better understanding what's going on in the house. If it's good or bad intent, we want to try to let you know how to deal with it in the future.
And it's not something that like maybe you need to worry about. Sometimes there's just ghosts or spirits or something that passes through that's not really a harm to you or yours, but just something that like literally recognizes that as an area that it passes through, or an area it used to inhabit. It's not trying to harm anybody.
Maybe it's just as scared as we are.
And that's why you might have something that like, oh, occasionally I hear steps across my like hallway or steps in my attic, and then sometimes when I'm trying to really figure it out, it just goes away. It just doesn't maybe want to interact with you. we've had moments where we've been outside at our fire and we felt multiple presences around us, and then as soon as we go to engage, they just dissipate. They don't want to like
They don't
engage
want to
with
engage.
us.
They're just as afraid as we are. We've noticed that, and like at this house, of course, we talk about that one shadow figure that crossed the patio, and we always experiencing it. Yeah, we live next to the forest. You'll say, "Hey, it's probably animal noises," but some of it can't be explained as animal noises.
No, we've been out there, and we hear things that aren't natural. We hear things that seem to be either cries or something calling out, and it's not like we're sitting out there getting hammered. It's just a fire, we're relaxing, and all of a sudden you just hear something that just doesn't seem natural. It's not like some kind of like coyote call or some kind of, bird, or a situation where like we were just watching bats earlier. I was going nuts.
He was going nuts. He was like squirrel. Hey, bats.
I like bats, okay? But seeing the bats out there, we know what different nature produces what, and we know the sounds we're looking for. I mean, I was a scout. You've got your military background, and you've probably done different scout.
I've done Awanas, which is because I was a military brat as well. So my mom sent me to. Yes, it's more Christian based. It's like a Christian Boy Scout.
But we're not here like,
no.
And I want to talk about this because sometimes Christianity gets a bad rap because of its history.
Oh yeah.
We're not here about that element.
No,
Chris
we're not.
is a Christian, and he believes in what he believes, but that's not any kind of. He's not out there trying to disprove anything outside of his own religion. He's out there trying to find things, and he's out there looking for the real mysteries.
To explain things. Why is it? Why is something calling my name? Why is stuff appearing or making you have a cold chill or making you feel heavy or making you feel emotional? Because yes, I experiences that. I'm sure everyone experiences in some shape or form that kind of feeling every time they go into a place. If it's really haunted or not, or it's just a simple place no one's heard about, there's going to be a spirit somewhere that wants to either watch you or talk to you.
And we're literally just trying to capture as much as possible to provide evidence. That's all it is. In this podcast, we'll talk about different things outside of just our paranormal studies, just outside of us going out there into the field. We'll be talking about aliens. I mean, I watched a great Netflix documentary, and it's the man who was cursed by, I think it's like Cursed by UFOs or something like that. I'll get the exact title and I'll post the link to the documentary on our Facebook page. But it exposed me to these different blinkers and these different things you need to look out in the sky. They're not just satellites, they're not just stars. If you look at these items out there, they blink green, they blink red, they blink blue, and they're repetitive. They move in patterns that aren't normal. They're out there, and we're not just out there to expose like different spirits or like spiritual realms or anything. We're trying to look at all paranormal, all the different things, some even conspiracy theories at points, because there's so much that's out there and there's so much things that need to be explored. We'll be hitting on as many subjects as possible.
Exactly. Yeah, my mind's open for anything. I know there's, like I always said, there is something always watching us, either be aliens or paranormal.
And there's many elements of those things that we have to look at, because some people get caught up in like, oh, there's a whole spiritual realm, or oh, there's a whole this, or oh, there's a whole that. Those aren't the only things that are out there. And some people look at the aliens and things like that, and they see certain things, and they're like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Why would somebody believe in something like that? I mean, some people look at Scientology, and they're like, they believe in lizard people. But then you have musicians like Chris Corrigan and like people who believe in lizard people or some kind of like alternate humanoid creature, they actually believe these things exist. They've experienced them in their own life. Whether or not that's true, whether it's a scam, we're
Who
gonna look at stuff like that.
who
We're not.
knows?
We don't want to leave anything unopened. Um, Unfortunately, the day we recorded this podcast, we lost Anthony Bourdain, and he was somebody
He
who
was a great adventurer, man.
he traveled across the world, and he tried to expose people to an understanding of different cultures, of different foods, of different things, of different elements of their lives, rituals.
He lived a full life, to my extent. I know it was pretty short for some people's eyes nowadays, but like you said, he lived a full life. He explored. He didn't let stayed in one place. He just went out there and let people know how these cultures and different people understand things.
And he didn't have any prejudices. He didn't go out there and he didn't have an agenda to prove that like a certain culture was a certain way. He literally sat down and had drinks and had food with all these different people from all these different backgrounds, and we want to interact with different things from different backgrounds, but also in different realms and different spiritualities because we come from different backgrounds, but we are looking for answers outside of what we know.
Exactly. We never know until we go out there and explore and to understand. Yeah, something calls out my name. Why did it call out my name? There's always going to be questions no matter what location you will go to.
And
Like,
why did that spirit give us the name? And I mean, please go check out our Facebook page, the Brunswick Area Paranormal Society, because you'll see the pictures, you'll see the videos, you'll see we're out there doing the research.
yeah, yes, we don't condone trespassing, but sometimes we do it. We don't discriminate. We don't desecrate anybody's location because, to me, that upsets the spirits when you destroy or graffiti a location because it upsets them.
And we're not out there to do that. Yeah, sometimes we're gonna go outside the little bit of the law.
Yes.
Or we're gonna get in a little bit of trouble. But we're only trying to figure out the truth. We're not your Jake or Logan Pauls or whatever those YouTuber guys do. We're not out trying to like offend cultures. We're not out in the suicide forces trying to like look at something just to boost our ratings. No, we just want to make sure that people are aware that there's something going on outside of what your basic church is or your basic people around you are going to tell you.
I was just wondering how many people have really heard of Molly Stark being haunted. I wouldn't have known it till I would experience what I have experienced.
How many people know of the Anunnaki? And I know this might be something you're not familiar with, but the Anunnaki are these lizard humanoid people that lived and are the basis of like Babylonian religions and things like that. And they're figures that literally help shape our societies, and there's statues and there's relics and things like that that point to these creatures. But like nobody knows what this kind of stuff is. We're gonna look at stuff like that.
Exactly. No one knows where this came from. And we're just going to go out there and experience. Yeah, we're limited to our means and we have to take care of a family.
But the more we grow, the more information we'll provide for you guys. Because any opportunity we get to go explore somewhere and to go learn more information, we'll be bringing that, guys, right to you. That's one of the we'll be bringing that information right to you. That's one of the reasons why we want to do this podcast, is so that we can provide the information so that you guys can go out there, do your own research, and maybe look at your own area and see the same things we're seeing.
Exactly. We'd love to. I love other people's experiences. I love watching other people's videos of places they've been to and experiences. This is what I want to share with the rest of the world, not just in Ohio, all through the U.S., all through other countries. I know there's different spiritual beliefs, but there's one thing. There's always think there's some the afterlife, the spiritual world. people believe in that. There's always someone watching them.
And it doesn't matter what you believe. We're not trying to disprove anybody's belief, but we are just trying to explore any opportunity we have to maybe expose a little bit more outside of what we may think is possible.
And
Be-
it's always not mean to interrupt. It's always
no,
good to have two different sides of the spectrum to understand what's going on out there because you just can't be one-sided. You got to be well-rounded of your beliefs in the spiritual world and what you believe in, Tyler.
and I mean, we may not agree on all points, but that's nice because you and I can see a situation, and especially when we explore together, we can see something, and we both have a different way to look at that, and that will help provide our listeners. And as you guys comment on like the pictures, the videos, the different things we talk about, as you guys interact with us, we'll be able to really see what's going on and we'll really be able to identify and interact more. And as we see things and as you guys see the similar things, we'll build an understanding together.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get more comfortable with, what we're talking about. You finally go on an exploration with me because you never been out except for next door to our cemetery.
Yeah, with you, I've only been out a couple times. I've just gotten kind of familiar with working with you. I used to do things when I was with other people. I've gone out with my ex roommate before I moved in
Yep.
with you.
Everyone's gone on with. I've
Yeah,
gone out with different people, not just from my page, which is only small, and also Tyler's now part of my page that way because he understands, and I'd like to add more members as the time comes.
and we're Cleveland based, and we base ourselves out of Brunswick. But that doesn't mean you need to be from Brunswick to be a part of us. If you're out there capturing information and you've got like relevant info and you want to send it to us, we'll talk about you. We'll include you in this podcast. We'll include you on our page. We're not just trying to come out of the Cleveland area. We're just based out of the Cleveland area, and that's where we kind of identify as. But we want to hear anything from any part of the nation, any part of the globe.
Yes, we are very interested, and anyone that has something to say, or you can feel free to ask any questions on our page. I'll be happy to answer it. Along with Tyler, be happy to answer any questions that you might have, or any ideas that you want us to do.
And we'll be out there. I mean, we've got some stuff coming up in the next week or two where we'll be out there looking at some stuff, and we'll always be putting up new things. We'll be putting up the podcast. The next podcast, I think we're gonna probably talk a little bit more on the alien side of things, just because we don't want you to think we're only getting caught up on the spiritual realm.
Right.
We're looking at the aliens. We've got the eye in the sky. I don't want to separate ourselves away from that. So the next podcast, we'll talk about aliens. We'll talk about cryptids. Bigfoot, Jersey
yeah.
Devil, things like that.
Yeah, that little stuff that comes up that people believe in as well.
The Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers,
All that
which
kind of
also
stuff.
Ghost Adventures have investigated too,
Exactly.
and they have experienced some things of the Skinwalkers, and I have been mentioned by a other couple that they have experienced Skinwalkers here in Ohio. I can't remember exactly what they said, but they have experienced as well. I just haven't gone up because they're also trying to raise a family. They just had a baby as well, so they can't go out as much.
And it's hard because we want to be out in the field all the time, but we are at full-time jobs. It's not as easy to get out there. But each week, we'll come and talk with you and let you know what we are doing. And as you follow the page, you'll see a lot of information.
Exactly. We're trying to get out there more. Probably still be in Ohio. There might be a few out in Pennsylvania area since we're on that side of Ohio.
And we'll probably head out to like Indiana, West Virginia, Kentucky, places like that where it's within our like weekend kind of drive,
Exactly.
but we have to work out, you know. So
We
let
have
us
to
hit
plan
the certain
ahead.
points within our element, and then we'll work out from that point.
Exactly. We just have to plan ahead. Or if you guys have any ideas that are not in Ohio but close to us, just like I said, just reach us out on our page. I'm sure me or Tyler will message you back in a timely fashion. That way, we'll be prepared to investigate if you want us to do such.
And we're not opposed to going to somebody's house. I mean, I would love. I've got a very good camera system. It's a security system with like night vision and all that. Chris has got multiple elements. We have the equipment. If you wanted to invite us out to your house for a night or so just to do an investigation, we will do that. We're not trying to like creep into your house or whatever. We
No.
literally are just looking for places that are haunted that maybe want an understanding of what may be going on in their house.
Or people that don't know of, but you're scared to reach out to because people think you're crazy or something. No.
We don't think you're crazy.
No, we don't think you're crazy.
People think we're crazy.
Yes. We talk about this to certain people, they go like, oh, no one believes in that stuff. I was like, you would be surprised.
We just want to go out there and find some kind of truths. We don't believe in the social norm. Chris is going out there and he has put in so much time and so much research. He's got pictures, videos, audio. I've gone out there, and even though my experiences have been a lot off like camera or off recorded, I'm going out there now with the proper equipment, and we will be providing a lot of great experiences, a lot of great evidence to what we're trying to find out there.
Exactly. And like I said, we're not prone to traveling as long as you give us advanced timing.
Yeah, we're not opposed to traveling as long as you can like set us up something, or if it's within our budget, because we're not like we can put ourselves up in a hotel room, that's no problem, but we don't want to be out for a weekend putting ourselves up in a hotel room for you to have like a creaky board, you know. We are looking for real things to explore, and I mean, I'll set up in your backyard with a tent just to look for some kind of Yeti creature if you need me to. But I don't want to find that you just have like, oh, my house is old and when the wind blows my like boards creak. No, I don't need that.
We have that plenty.
We have that in our own house. We are exploring things in our own house, you know? So let it be worth our time and let us be interested in what you're doing, and we'll get out there, you know? We're trying to really discover what's going on.
We want to get out there, trust us.
So, this has been By the Burial Ground. This will be our first episode. We recorded it before it was actually going to be released. It will probably be released within a week of this. We've got to do a little bit of work, you know.
Just a little bit of editing. Just break the ice.
I don't want it to come out like and be all like, ah, man, these guys just recorded it, threw it on the internet, and like, whatever, you know. No, it's not. It's not going to be like that. So we are out. I'm Tyler.
I am Chris.
And I hope you guys have a good night.
To touch your shed